Welcome, everyone, to the Women in Maintenance podcast, a place where women in maintenance share their stories. I'm your host, Caitlin Young-Gilbert, proud CMRP and Chief of Staff over at Upkeep. I'm also the founder of the maintenance community. Join us at upkeep.org. Each episode, I get a chance to meet with female leaders in maintenance to discuss their career journeys and share best practices with you all on how we as a community can help women thrive. Today, we're excited to have Maureen Gribble on the show. Welcome, Maureen.
Hello, nice to be here, rather.
Awesome. Maureen has been working as the Director of Marketing for UE Systems since 2012, with over 15 years working in the maintenance and reliability industry. In her current role, Maureen oversees all marketing efforts as well as works closely with the training and sales department as part of the North America leadership team. She's heavily involved in building the Leading Reliability Conference and other regional events across North America. That's quite a few accomplishments. I'm so excited to be chatting with you today. Welcome, Maureen.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice to be here. And I love what you guys are doing with the podcast and with the whole community that you guys have going over there. So it's great.
Awesome. Thank you. And you're a super active part of that community. So when I saw we were going to have the chance to speak, I was very excited. And so for those who might not be part of the community, can you just give us a little bit more context about your background and how you first were introduced to the field of maintenance and reliability?
Yeah, so out of college, I kind of fell into the association management nonprofit industry is what my dad did. And I guess I just followed along in his footsteps. And through that, I ended up getting a role with the Society for Maintenance and Reliability Professionals, SMRP. Hopefully most people are familiar with them. And so I worked for them for about 6 years, working on the certification program and education initiatives over there. And in the process of it, I really got to learn so much about maintenance and reliability, what our members did for a living, and the impact that they have. And it just kind of sucked me in. And so I knew that, okay, don't see myself wanting to leave this community to go work in some other association or whatever. And so I actually got called up by the folks here at UE Systems, and they offered me a job, and I was thrilled and happy to be on kind of the other side of the industry and getting to work with customers and with our technology and still be a part of the greater reliability community. So that's kind of how I got to where I am today.
I love that. You were already thinking like, I think this is the industry for me. I want to pursue this. And then an opportunity popped up.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, UE Systems is a leading provider of ultrasound technology solutions. And so for you, from a marketing perspective, I'm really curious what you would say has been the most powerful initiative when it came to like spreading the word on the importance of ultrasound as a condition monitoring tool. Like, how do you approach bringing this out to market and bringing more people in?
Well, so we've had all the traditional ways of doing things in the past, trade shows, conferences, articles and magazines, webinars, things like that. And those were working great. And, you get to meet the people who are at those events. But all of a sudden, we had to really shift our thinking in that when the world shut down last year. And so that was kind of scary because at least especially for us with the technology that's very, a lot of what we sell is handheld equipment and, you kind of need to touch it and feel it and hear it and all that good stuff. We were thinking, oh my gosh, how are we going to get the word out, as you said, about the power of ultrasound? But luckily with, things like LinkedIn and different communities like what you guys are doing at Upkeep and being able to do a lot more virtual events, we were able to, I think, actually cast a wider net. And actually, I think our team is talking with customers and engaging with them almost more now because we're able to do video conferencing, because we're able to do, more support instead of having to wait to be able to get into a plant, we're able to hop on and be supportive. So that's been actually kind of a happy accident. We're able to do more online training, things like that. But the other thing has been with kind of all the continuous monitoring and the remote monitoring solutions that we've been coming out with. That really has been able to prove how powerful the tool is in a way that folks can use it remotely, that they know that their assets are constantly being listened to, even if they're not able to get into their plant. So, we've been lucky from a few perspectives, being able to utilize technology like Zoom and things like that, but also utilizing the new products and technology that we've been able to put out into the market.
There was so much bad that has happened in the last year and a half, 2 years, but I think It's so important what you're mentioning is one, I do see in the industry a new passion for connecting and having these conversations in different ways. So not just as you were saying, the traditional like conferences, there's just ways to engage that weren't possible before. And that's kind of paired with this new real hunger for technology that solves some of these problems that maybe people were like, I just don't have time to deal with this right now. So
Mhm.
I'm just going to do small incremental changes. And now because of, as you mentioned, being forced to go remote and things like that, people are now just like super interested in, okay, let's actually take these advancements seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
And so going off of that, we mentioned you're the director of marketing at UE Systems for nearly 10 years. And so that's some of the changes you saw because of COVID and fast tracking technology and engagement. But if you were to compare the beginning years and the recent years of this role, what changes have you noticed in the industry? Have there been different kinds of challenges and learnings that you've experienced along the way?
Yeah, I mean, things kind of come and go, and you get people get real excited about new technology, and then you get kind of in the ruts where okay, things seem fine, and so you're always kind of challenged by whatever the current environment is. But even as I just kind of mentioned, when I started here, our handheld units, just to traditional route-based condition monitoring, going out and taking your readings with one of our handheld instruments, loading the data into the software, and kind of doing your analysis that way was the traditional kind of method. If you're going to use ultrasound, that was kind of what your option was. But as we've been able to innovate and bring in kind of industry 4.0 and all of those things, now we have the ability to set up continuous monitoring, and we can have our assets monitored and listened to 24/7 with alerts going right to your phone when a bearing needs to be lubricated, and you can lubricate the bearing right from your phone. This is huge. The aging of the workforce, that's something that is a concern as well, because a lot of the folks that are out there are still wanting that comfort of the handhelds and things like that. But as the new group of workers is coming in, they are looking for those more advanced data driven technologies. And so I think, again, us being able to focus on these remote and continuous monitoring solutions is really going to help us, lead us into the future.
And, jumping off the topic of the aging workforce and needing to make sure that we are bringing in talent into our industries, I'd love to just ask a little bit about, in your opinion, the importance of bringing in female leaders, right? If we are in a time where we need to make sure that we don't hit a shortage and that as people are retiring and moving away from the industry, we have new talent coming in. So I just would love to hear, what are some words of advice you'd give to future generations of female leaders considering coming into maintenance and reliability?
Definitely changed in the last 10 years. You're seeing so many more women at the conferences and events that I attend, even just the past couple that I was at in the last couple of months, which was great. It's so nice to see more women getting involved. And I think, and you touched on it a little bit ago about how much more engaged people seem to be and people are craving that. I think that is just going to be a huge benefit for anybody entering the industry, but also for women, because if LinkedIn has really become this just comfortable little, almost like our own little Starbucks or something, where people are sharing information, they're giving advice, they're answering questions, they're providing, you see the people putting I want to give a shout out to so-and-so for being a great colleague, or, it's just, it feels like a different place than it was 2 years ago. I think that's really nice because, 10 years ago when I first started working at UE, you kind of had to wait till a conference came around before you could really kind of get out and network and learn. Now you literally with your coffee every morning can get up on LinkedIn and engage and learn and pick people's brains and make connections. And then, if you're lucky enough to get to go to a conference, now you have all these familiar faces and you've already established these relationships, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable that way than I think we had, even 5 years ago. So hopefully, folks can take advantage of that. And then, those of us that are women already in this field, I think we need to be sure we're reaching out and being supportive and helping to bring people along and be a resource as well. So I certainly am try to do that with the women that I've gotten lucky enough to get to meet, especially through, the leading reliability initiatives. So, we have a responsibility also to set a good example and of course, like I said, help bring people along. And I think unfortunately as women, we do have to work a little harder and know, educate ourselves just a little bit more so that, we can get that confidence from people that we do know what we're talking about. Unfortunately, you still get it at a conference where someone will come up to the booth and they might want to wait till one of my male colleagues is available to talk to them. It's like, no, wait, I know what I'm talking about, So we do have that battle, but I think, we just have to really be on it, spend the time, get that education, watch webinars, read books, listen to podcasts, and just be ready to be confident when you're out and about.
I joined the maintenance industry only 4 years ago, and I was surprised. I love what you said about LinkedIn or online forums being like Starbucks, that we all get together virtually. It definitely gave me that feel of being very welcome. I was waiting for someone to call me out saying, why are you here? You have no background in this, and that did not happen. It was only a supportive place. And I think something that was really telling is you in this industry can ask a question either through the maintenance community Slack group or on LinkedIn, and you won't be torn down for not knowing it. Like you'll just immediately get answers, and people just excited that you have any interest in this and that you want to be part of this. So I think that's something that's really special about the maintenance community, the maintenance industry as a whole. And I think something else that's super important, I just want to give you your moment of shine, is just saying, when women like yourself are active on LinkedIn or answering questions or posting things, I think that is so important, because you do sometimes need to see people who look like you, or people just different perspectives, and hear what they have to say. And so I think that has opened a lot of doors for, at least in my confidence. When I was thinking about launching this podcast, I was like, I don't know if I'm the right person. And then I just remembered how important it was for me 4 years ago when I first joined LinkedIn and joined maintenance community, and saw other women posting things and being vulnerable and asking things and then speaking confidently when they do have expertise. So that was a long ramble, but I just really wanted to make sure I showed you appreciation for inspiring all of this. And you mentioned the importance of conferences, and I don't want to skip over that. So earlier we mentioned that you're currently working on building the Leading Reliability Conference, and that's with UE Systems and some other organizations. Can you share a little bit more about this event and really like the benefits of how strategic partnerships like that lead to really great collaboration opportunities?
Yeah, so the Leading Reliability kind of brand just sort of started actually years and years ago. We would do these one-day regional events, and with Iridicio and Fluke and some other companies. And then when the pandemic hit, we kind of got together and we decided, okay, what can we do? How can we continue to engage? How can we continue to meet customers? Because we still have businesses to run, and what can we do also to fill our time? All of the conferences that were on our schedules were canceled, and so we got together with Fluke Reliability, Iridicio, and RDI Technologies, and the four of us, we started doing weekly webinars, and we just webinar, just as much content as we could get out there and engagement with folks. And then we decided to do a virtual conference. And I think we were one of the first virtual conferences in this space. So that was pretty exciting. And through that, we ended up doing another one last January. And then we realized, okay, I think things seem to be opening up a bit. And we did our first in-person conference in August. And it was a great success. And what was really great about it was, until we got to Florida in August, I hadn't physically met most of the people that were on the team. So here we had grown this pretty big, successful brand and initiative, and we had just done it all through video chats. And so it was really cool to see us all, and we're all coming from different perspectives. We had a shared goal, but what might be important to us might not be as important to someone else, but we were able to work together and pull it off. And in that, I got to work with some really amazing women. So that was really fun for me, because in my day-to-day job, I don't work with hardly any women. And so that was really fun for me. I hadn't had that in a long time. And so working with, Dawn and Sam and Jenna and Skylar and Ashley, it was really great to bounce ideas off of them and then get together in Florida was really nice. So just a good example of, being able to come together and put something on for the greater good. It was really great. And we're looking forward. We're doing another one in May in Clearwater Beach again. And so it should be a good success. We're building it as we speak. We just had a call about it half an hour ago.
Really looking forward to hearing more about it. And, for our listeners who would like to learn more about the Leading Reliability Conference and or connect with you personally, how can people do that?
So it's leadingreliability.com is the website for the conference. But of course, LinkedIn, I'm just, on there, Maureen Gribble. So that's a great way to get in touch with me and, message me, engage with everybody. And if you have questions, happy to answer them.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maureen, for joining us today.
It was great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to today's episode of the Women in Maintenance podcast. My name is Caitlin Young Gilbert. I'm the Chief of Staff at Upkeep and founder at the Maintenance Community. You can connect with me on LinkedIn under Caitlin Young Gilbert, or you could find me and Maureen in the Maintenance Community Slack group. Feel free to ask us any follow-up questions from today's episode or suggest future topics. You can sign up at upkeep.org. Hope to connect with you all soon. Until next time. Bye.